And we'll check this out on YouTube.
All right, so you can go on YouTube right now and watch it live.
Correct.
Okay, so it's actually an actual live broadcast on YouTube right now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I probably won't be able to get you the.
So what network would that be on then?
That's on this VLAN network.
So it's probably just engineering, student engineering VLAN.
Yeah,
I would think.
You mind if I just check the IP address of the network?
Not at all.
And this is the black box, Black Magic.
That's a Black Magic box. That's basically what sends the feed from the camera to Thunderbolt to the computer.
Right, okay.
So if you walk over here with me, guys. This might be like a 10 or 15 second delay on the live feed.
All right.
This might be like a 10 or 15 second delay.
That's pretty good.
That's really what we want. We want students to be able to watch this online and not be in the room if they don't have to be. All right? Mm-hmm. So this is where this need comes from.
Right.
So the technology, I've got it figured out. It's pretty much does what we want it to do right so far. But the ease of use is what the problem is right now. So it's pretty difficult for us to do this if we don't have those Ethernet ports in the room. If we don't have the Ethernet ports in the room and we don't have Desktop Presenter installed on the lectern PC, then the lecturer has to use their own laptop. We have to run an Ethernet port across the room to that laptop to feed that feed out to the recording laptop. Yeah. And if we wanted to broadcast to YouTube, we would have to go over Wi-Fi, which in some areas would be pretty much impossible, especially in large lecture rooms.
Wi-Fi isn't that great to rely on that, especially since there's a ton of factors such as interference and all
Exactly, and the saturation of use in the room. So yeah, and especially if the lecturer wants to have the students vote on something or do something over Wi-Fi to participate in the class as well.
Right.
So this is where this comes in where the lecturer can stop and say, I'd like you guys to ask you this question and I'd like to see what the results are live. Everybody in the room would get on their Wi-Fi device to vote or to answer the question. Yeah. And then the people externally would also will be online already watching it, but they'd go to a link and answer the question there. So that's basically what we're accomplishing, and that's why the request is in.
Would it only be YouTube you guys plan to stream to, or are there other services or web?
That's a good question. YouTube is the one we've picked so far just because it's simple to set up and use, and it's free. Whether Learning Environments ever decides that they want to invest in their own live streaming service, we would probably go down that route if they made that available. But right now, that's the only one that I know of that we would use.
Yeah, okay. I had a quick dig around on the links that you sent on the original email for
yep.
I think it was Webcaster?
Wirecast.
Wirecast, yes.
Wirecast and Desktop Presenter.
I know they had a couple of different supported applications.
Yeah.
My main concern is whether or not the way the Wirecast would communicate, as in for some applications it might initiate a connection first outbound to the externally hosted broadcasting service. Say for example, if you're broadcasting to YouTube, it would talk to YouTube first and then establish a trusted connection where YouTube and the Wirecast could communicate back and forth all the data. My concern is if it talks to someone else other than YouTube, maybe it would get the external broadcast to talk back via a new connection, which would be dropped by a firewall. So
I gotcha.
That's my main concern. But then,
as far as I know, I don't think that we would set up any other live streaming service.
Yeah.
The only thing that I could think of is we might stream it to a room. So we might have somebody in a lab who would like to demonstrate something to other students who don't fit in the lab.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that that I can envision, and I've had requests for that already. Now we can do that over YouTube as well, but if we do it room to room directly, it'll be a much quicker feed and much easier to support. And all, yeah, exactly.
On that, you can just do the software. Is that how that
yeah.
works? As long as both software's on both PCs or both in both places?
On the main obstacle is the same, being on the same network.
And being on the same
Yeah.
network, right?
Yeah, possibly the same VLAN.
Right.
So
Imagine this isn't, and I guess this is probably a question for learning environments, but it can't just be engineering that's tackling this issue. It must be coming up all over the place.
there's requests and there's complaints that it's not happening from all over the place.
Right.
I've just come up with this solution with engineering. I came up with it about five years ago,
Right.
and it was mainly for lecture recording because we got Echo 360, and people were using it, and people were a little dissatisfied with it because of the inability to capture the lecturer. So the lecturer was walking away from their slide, going to the whiteboard, drawing on the whiteboard,
Right.
and the people watching the recording afterwards would miss out on what the lecturer was saying because they walked away from the mic, first of all, and second, miss out on everything that they drew on the board because there's nothing being recorded of them actually doing things in class. So we came up with that solution, and that did resolve it, and a lot of people do use it. And some rooms like this one and a few rooms in mining are equipped to facilitate it easier without having to run a 30-meter Ethernet cable across the room and have people tripping over it because, I'm pretty experienced with the kit already. I can set up fairly quickly, but it's the students and TAs that we train to do those kits.
Right.
So I don't do those recordings. I just train people on how to do it. And usually a lecturer would come to me and say, I'd like to record my lecture this semester, and these are the days I'd like to borrow the equipment. And I'd say, all right, send me 2 people that I can train for you to do the recordings. And they usually send me 2 students or 2 TAs. And they pay them, I train them. These kids come and pick up the kit, they take it to do the recording, they set up every time, they pack it away, bring it back to me. And that's how it works. So when they're running the Ethernet cable across the room and the students are still getting into the class or leaving the previous class,
OHS.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It sounds like a great technology that I can see a lot of faculties like moving onto this sort of kit. I think, but I have concerns because at the moment it's currently set up on one of the existing wide networks available to the, I guess, teaching theatres and lecture theatres.
Yep.
We're actually we're planning to re-architect the network to be more secure. So host to host within the same networks would be restricted.
Yep.
And obviously that would break your network connectivity requirements.
Because that desktop presenter wouldn't work then?
Yeah. So I think it's important that we move this sort of like deployment onto its own specific network, so it doesn't get taken out when we do re-architect.
Cool.
So in saying that, because we should be moving to a new network with this bit of kit, it gives us an opportunity to, I guess, address any potential improvements that you might want to see in, I guess, a new network as well.
Yeah.
So ideally, you'd have 2 IP addresses per kit, right? So you want one for the lectern and one for the
Recording laptop.
yeah, the recording laptop.
Yeah.
So would these kits be permanently in the room, or
Nah.
would they just be floating around?
They'd be on a per use basis. So I don't envision that every lecture that happens on campus to be recorded and broadcast to YouTube.
Yeah.
It's going to be specific individuals who want to go down that route. That number may increase quite a bit if it gets popular and people are willing and want to do that. Once we showcase like some good examples, you'll have students who will say, well, I want that for my class, and I'd like to be able to see my recordings like that instead of the Echo 360 recordings that I'm getting. So it may grow, but I don't see that happening, within a year.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking about maybe 2 or 3 years down the road.
That's fair enough. In terms of like network speeds or latency, do you have any issues in dropping out on the normal
I
network?
haven't seen any, but to be honest, the YouTube live streaming bit we haven't really tested in a live class. I've just proven the concept just within the past few months, just to prove that it can be done this way, because of the need that we have with we have a lot of postgrad courses that we're redeveloping to use this kit with, and also that are very, very much over capacity. So they're over enrolled. We're providing the students who can't fit in the room with a webcast option. Right now the webcast option is only the Echo 360 recording, and we're hoping that we provide this for them instead. and also provide the live option if that's something that the lecturer is interested in doing.
Yep. Okay. Seeing it as you guys haven't had any issues with like the voice being, I guess, chopped up from latency.
No, not with this. Not with this, and not with the software. So the software on there, not only will it do the live edits with the banners, it could put a Twitter feed in there. I could put up a scoreboard too if we have a competition. It's got a lot of really cool stuff. But it also does the live broadcast to YouTube or any live streaming service I want to point it to, and a live compression of the recorded file. So I can record the file, compress it at the same time, and then have a final, at the end of the recording, I have a compressed, fully edited file ready to upload to the box.
Yeah, like an MP4 sort of thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's pretty handy.
Yeah.
For, I guess, is there any like sort of archiving that goes online for these recorded things, or is it all just done on the recording laptop at the moment?
It's just on the recording laptop, and it's up to the lecturer to decide what they do with that recording. So if they don't want to put it on the box, they don't have to. They can put it up to YouTube if they want. Typically, I recommend the box. I recommend them using like a gallery to make a collection and a gallery of all the videos for that course or for that topic, so that they can then distribute it in whatever other platform they want to use, whether it be Moodle or OpenLearn or a MOOC or what have you.
If you guys ever have any technical difficulties with the actual Wirecast application or the box,
yeah.
do you have remote vendors
No.
giving support? Or?
No.
Okay.
No, because basically I'm the support.
You're the support.
Yeah.
That's fair enough.
Yeah. We haven't had many issues. The software is pretty solid, and it runs really well on the Macs that I've chosen for the kits, but it can run on Windows machines as well, which makes it a lot cheaper, but I don't know how well they run on those machines. So.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because the new campus architecture for the network we're looking at is we're planning to give everybody private IP addressing. So at the moment it's running on a public IP address which is open, which is accessible.
Yep.
By the open internet, so everybody on the World Wide Web can, I guess, communicate to that IP address that your laptop has.
Yep.
Which does pose a security risk.
Yeah.
So with our new architecture, with private IP addressing, there's an extra layer of security, but with that extra layer, it limits the ability for people outside of the UNSW network to communicate in. So if you had external supports.
Yeah, we don't have that. I mean, the only thing that I think could be affected by that is if we do have a live Twitter feed coming into that recording, and we want to display that in the recording. So if you're going to block that would be unfortunate.
Have you had any, I guess, trials of the live Twitter feed at the moment?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
Yeah.
So if it works at the moment, I'll have to double check the existing firewall rules on the network that it's currently sitting on. My suspicion is that the Wirecast would communicate out to Twitter first and establish the trust.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, there's a key that we have to, and the account that it has to use and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's not like if I have Twitter on my phone or on my PC right now at my desk, you guys are going to introduce a new network and block my Twitter feed, right?
No. So the new layer of security only applies for new connections trying to create a trust.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
So if we communicate first, create the trust from our side,
yep.
then the return communication for that trust would be permitted.
All right.
So it's only the communication that you want to happen.
Which makes sense, because that's exactly how it works. There's nothing coming in to those recordings or to that software that we haven't already established as a feed that we want to come in.
Yeah.
So another thing that we can do with it, and I see some people probably will want to do that, is to have like a video stream from another user somewhere else. So kind of like Google Hangouts or something like that, and like a guest lecturer coming in to one of these recordings. It'll go in through Wirecast. We'll broadcast it on the screen somehow, and
through there in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that's going to be an issue because
obviously we do it now.
Yeah, you guys are doing it now. So I think the actual technical implementation in terms of the network side and security side of all that, it's very doable on our network, especially since you guys have been doing it for a while now and haven't had any issues. So
cool.
I think it should be pretty good to put in there.
Excellent. So should we talk to Dinesh and I guess he's going to have to talk to my dean or somebody's going to put up the money. I don't know. I think my dean's like, well, why are we going to put up the money for all the rooms on campus that don't even belong to engineering?
Yeah, I think that's the discussion that has to happen at that level.
Yeah, it doesn't matter because business is very interested in this stuff too, and maths is interested. So I'm sure the deans can get together and be like, hey, listen, let's just fund this.
Especially with the new 2025 vision and digital
I
campus.
agree. I think it's only a matter of time. So, you know, just so happens that you guys maybe have.
Maybe I should turn off the live Twitter feed. Huh? I just realized that. What? What are these guys talking about? Security?